Hi guys, welcome back to my XGS guide. Now I'm going to review Lightning Fast Zidane. So let's start from his stats. So far, the first thing I noticed that's special about him is his true dual wield, because he gets 150% true dual wield spirit. But again, maybe this is not that useful unless you equip a staff. Okay, why? Because I believe, unlike healer or attackers who rely on spirit, you probably don't equip an equipment that has high spirit, which make this 150% true dual wield is not that great. But still, it increases a little bit spirit, so it makes his spirit maybe better compared to other your physical DPS. And he also able to become provoker because he gets 50% draw attack combined with 50% physical and magic evasion. So yes, I can say he is quite tanky, and if those are not enough for you, he still has that fatal damage protection. He has 2 fatal damage protection. Okay, so yes, he is good on offensive side, but for defensive, he is also pretty decent. Nothing to complain about his stats. Now let's take a look on his normal form. So his normal form is more like support form, okay? Sure, he able to chain with Stardust Ray, but like you can see here that his Stardust Ray damage modifier is nothing special. Only 54 to 64 times, okay? So nothing special, but the Stardust Ray also able to give your party some buffs. The 230% all stats buff gonna be useful if you don't bring a buffer to your party. And remember, if you need that AoE physical evasion, you can use him too, okay? Because it is his Stardust Ray chain move, you can buff and chain at the same time. So yes, it's pretty decent. And the next support thing he able to do is become MP battery. He can recover 100 MP and gives 5 limit burst crystals to all allies. It is per cast, so if you use triple cast, that means he recovers 300 MP and 15 limit burst to all allies, which is pretty decent, okay? When you still maintaining your limit burst crystals to use his limit burst. And remember, he also gets that 150% bird killer buff to all allies. So yes, make sure you bring him to Dark Vision if you need those bird killer. And for Grande's ability, it inflicts death to himself, but it recover health and MP to all allies. Also feel 40 limit burst crystals to everyone. So 40 limit burst crystals, I can say that's almost full limit burst to everyone on this game, okay? Almost, okay, not all characters. And actually, I can say that his limit burst on this form, yes, it is decent, but I think the damage is not the thing you want from this limit burst. So I think the reason you use this limit burst is because the limit burst damage buff. It grants you 250% limit burst damage buff, which is really high and top tier, okay? And yes, the downside of this limit burst is it requires 80 limit burst crystals. Sure, his passives grant him with nice limit burst crystal regen per turn, but because he requires 80 limit burst, it is not that important. That's what I want to say, okay? But still, it really helpful, but the limit burst regen won't make you able to spam this constantly. Okay, so that's all for the normal form. Now let's take a look on Brave Shift form. So Brave Shift form is the most damaging form, okay? He is still able to chain with Stardust Ray chain. He able to imperil fire and wind resist by 130%. So yes, it is nice, okay? And for non-elemental, he can deal between 90 to 110 times. So yes, it is definitely above average compared to your other Stardust Ray chainer. But I think the reason you use this Brave Shift form is not for those Stardust Ray chain. Okay, the reason you on this form is to use his limit burst, because like you can see that his limit burst is pretty insane. It can deal up to 295 times damage. So I can say that this is the most powerful physical limit burst on this game. Okay, it is only one hit, so yes, you can use it as a finishing very easy. Okay, and yes, like you can see here, with 600% limit burst damage boost, it is possible because his STMR, okay, he can deal up to 2065 times damage, and that's insane, and even higher compared to Noctis jump damage. Okay, I said higher, but remember, higher doesn't mean better than Noctis. Why? Because yes, like you can see that, wow, this one is powerful, but 80 limit burst crystals, you probably only able to use it every 4 or 5 turns. So in the long terms, I believe that Noctis or Ardyn is still better than Zidane. But if you search for insane damage within 1 turn, he has insane potential. And yes, unlike Noctis and Ardyn, who doesn't need extensive support, if you really want to use this LB frequently, you really need Enthruster. So for example, Warrior of Light Bards, because yes, Warrior of Light Bards able to entrust, and he only require like 28 limit burst crystals to fill for himself. So yes, he can entrust to Zidane almost every turn. Okay, so that also allow him to spam this limit burst. Okay, but also remember, Warrior of Light Bards also can give you 45% wind damage boost, which is insane. 45 or 50, I don't remember, but insane wind damage buff. So yes, it really synergizes well with 130% wind imperil from Zidane. So if you have those two characters, maybe you want to try the combination. Pretty decent, okay? And another problem that Zidane Brave Shift form has is his form is not permanent. It is 4 turns duration. So really guys, that's why I say you need Enthruster, because you want to use your limit burst as frequently as possible. Because if you don't use it, you will go back to normal form. You need to wait 5 turns before you're able to become Brave Shift. This is why I really prefer Noctis and Ardyn compared to this Zidane, okay? Because I think he is really annoying to use, okay? You need to, for jumper, you can simply jump, landing the attack on the next turn, jump again. No need to think. But for this, you need to time your attack, and wow, that's annoying. Okay, but not sure about you, but that's just for me. Another thing I hate about Zidane is his limit burst Brave Shift form achieve the maximum damage after you use it 2 times. Sure, even if you use it on the first time, it is still very damaging, but it is still below Noctis and Ardyn damage for the first time, okay? So yes, I think he is good, but do you able to use it 2 times quickly? I don't think so if you don't have Enthruster. That's why I'm not a big fan of this Zidane. Okay, that's enough about Brave Shift form. Now let's take a look on equipment. So for equipment, you must equip his Trust Mastery Word because it is basically irreplaceable. It grants him 500 static attack. Okay, so yes, really amazing. For STMR, I can say that the STMR is pretty good almost for everyone. The buff, I mean, okay, but anyone who equip it, basically they just waste 1 slot. Okay, because it only grant ability, so you kind of lack status or whatever. But another problem is his STMR gonna take effect after 5 turns, and not all characters able to equip it. So sure, you're able to equip it on Zidane, but that's kind of so waste of slot because Zidane is physical DPS. You can equip killers, which is really useful. I think this kind of STM are only applicable to support, okay? And that's why I think one of the best partner for Zidane is Mira, because Mira able to equip this STMR, and Mira also able to entrust her limit burst. And like you know that Mira is really easy character to feel for her limit burst, okay? She has faster LBV rate, so you can entrust Mira limit burst to Zidane. And Mira weakness is her buffs are kind of weak on today's standard, but that's also remedied by this STMR, because this STMR can give you 250% all stats buff. So yes, Mira is really the healer or the support you use when you use Lightning Fast Zidane or want to get that 300% limit burst damage buff, okay? The second partner, like I have said before, it is Warrior of Light Bards. It is pretty awesome. And yes, Warrior of Light Bards is a chainer. And like you know that Lightning Fast Zidane is finisher. So they works really well with Entruster, with wind damage buff. Yes, pretty decent. So that's all about equipment and partner. Now my conclusion for Lightning Fast Zidane. So yes, Lightning Fast Zidane, I can say that he is probably the best burst damage dealer on the game. But that's only happen if you able to fulfill the condition. Like you have used his limit burst 2 times, you get that 300% limit burst damage buff, and many things. Okay, basically I can say he really need lots of support. Just compare him with Noctis and Ardyn. Okay, Noctis and Ardyn, they don't need that limit burst damage buff. They can focus on killers. Okay, yes, I know they also need that jump damage boost on their ability slot, but the point here is they don't need that 300% limit burst damage buff on the battle. Okay, so this will make them easier to use, and I can say that Noctis and Ardyn gonna deal much more damage in the long run, because jump, landing damage on the next turn, jump again. But for Zidane, wow, okay, everyone really needs to support him, and on off turn his damage is not that good. Sure, I know that his Brave Shift Stardust Ray Chain is quite damaging, but remember, he will refer to the normal form. On the normal form, the Stardust Ray Chain is below average. And basically on the normal form, I don't think he is that great, okay? So the point here is, Zidane, while he seems really great as a DPS, I think his real value is on the limit burst damage buff. Okay, the normal limit burst damage buff is pretty powerful, 250%. Okay, it is top tier for many LP users out there. And basically, I think if you search for damage and you already have Noctis or Ardyn, you don't need Zidane. In fact, I still say that Noctis and Ardyn are still better. Okay, in the long run. Okay, in the long run, because they able to jump damage. For Zidane, limit burst, waiting for few more turns, limit burst. So sure, okay, annoying I must say. Imagine if he dies, his stacking, his limit burst stack damage on Brave Shift gonna lose, and you need to redo the process again. So I really hate something like that, okay? So for trial, for him to be useful on trial, you really need to have specific party. and you may not be able to do that on trial. On Dark Vision, where he seems to shine, you can do that, but you need to wait for 5 turns or few turns before able unleash his full potential. Again, so there is drawback on every aspect on both trial and Dark Vision. So I don't think he is that interesting after seeing all of this. Okay, really need specific party and heavy pampering. Not bad characters, but it is simply not my type. Okay, and for the Vision card, it is nice Vision card because from what I remember, it is the first Dagger Vision card. So it's always good, okay? It gives you variety on equipping weapon. So yes, I think that's all you need to know about Lightning Fast Zidane. In my eyes, he is sure powerful, but not a must-have character. Because most characters already able to give themselves like 250% buff, 200% to 250% buff by themselves. Okay, so unless you really go into long battle and you need to cast that 250% limit burst damage buff multiple times, then you don't need Zidane. But that's just for me. What do you think about him? Please leave it on the comment. Tell me if I'm wrong. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for more Final Fantasy Private Series guide. Bye bye guys!